Welcome to IT Live, presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. I'm Joe Cook. That's Justin Wells. That's Ian Boyd. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and go to InsideTexas.com. Sign up for just $1. Get the best recruiting insight, get the best team insight. We've already got some great stuff up this morning from Eric Nalin. Get the best program insight because we had Chris Del Conte speaking in front of everybody digitally and in person last night. Inside Texas was there. Got some great updates from him. Always informative to hear. Well, we got those over in Inside Texas, so make sure you go check that out. First off, the one we got to say thank you everybody for joining in. Tax Saver Roaster, Chris, appreciate y'all. Big news. I think Del Conte, sometimes his vocabulary and I don't want to say diction, but just the way he puts words out, sometimes hard to track. But he said there's going to be a spring game. And that has me – yeah, I know. That has me excited just because I don't think there's any risk in having a spring game anymore because there's no portal window. What do y'all think on that?
Tampering is still tampering. I mean, you can still mess stuff up, dude. You just can't – You can still transfer. You just have to sit out the year, obviously. But hey,
or do you?
What I like, content gives us a chance to see the young guys. Gives us a chance to kind of see the backups. I enjoy that.
Ian,
the content for us is invaluable. Like me and Paul rely so heavily on the spring game to get a feel for like
the fall.
How is this guy moving? What's the real pecking order look like? This like here's some young guy that we've never seen before. What's he good at? What's he not good at? Just in like pure movement. Whose technique is good? Whose technique is bad? Who's strong? What kind of schemes are they running? What kind of how well do they have a mastery over Muschamps coverages?
Right.
Fronts? That's going to be big.
Yeah.
I mean, for evaluation purposes, it misleads us now and then, but a lot of times it leads us straight. Like sometimes it's like, oh, this guy could be the answer. And you're like, no, I saw that guy in the spring game. That guy's not, there's no way. Or on the flip side, I remember in 22, they had Jade at nickel. And I was like, this guy's going to be awesome at nickel based on the spring game. Like, this guy's ready. He's maybe one of the best players on the team. And that bore out. So, man, I think it's really valuable for getting a feel for the whole roster, getting a feel for the transfers, getting a feel for some of the basic schemes, and then pumping out content for all you guys. Like we love to overanalyze it, and we love to present our overanalysis for easy content instead of trying to figure out what else to write about all off season.
Yeah, and it's not something you leave as like a one-off thing. You use those 14 practices prior and the information we get from that. Then the 15th that we really see to really understand what's going on. It's not like, oh, wow, this guy had 5 catches. It's like, yeah, but he's 9th on the depth chart or something.
Do you guys remember the 2016 spring game?
I remember every spring game.
Okay. Do you remember 2016?
Yeah.
Oh, is that the first veer and shoot? That was the first Gilbert one.
Yes. Yeah. It was the first time that we had covered Texas where we were like, they have a quarterback.
Yeah.
Hey, it's been 4 years and he can throw. And we got an offense and they can throw. Like, I just remember the excitement of 2016, seeing Shane Buechele come out there, throw the pill around for like 20 minutes. It got really it started raining. They called it at halftime, which is a win-win-win in my book. But it was just fun and exciting. And, it was like that was good for the fan base because Texas fans were yearning for just some semblance of an offense and some explosiveness, and they had seen Baylor score 100 points a game, and the spread was just taking over in tempo, and Texas was so far behind. But that spring game encapsulated kind of what Texas was going to become in the next 5 to 10 years. That to me was the coolest part of a spring game. Like you got to see something positive and something to rally around. I don't know if we'll have anything similar to that. It'll probably be more vanilla like the other ones. But I just remember that 2016 leaving DKR and the fan base being so excited because I think it had been so long before they had seen somebody actually throw the pill around and have some excitement. I think he hit John Burt on a couple seams, and all of a sudden the veer and shoot became Texas fans' favorite offense.
We have two stories from that.
Yes.
First story, I was tweeting before the spring game, and I was like, okay, everybody, remember not to make too much of what happens in the spring game. And then like Shane Buechele threw the ball like 2 or 3 times. And I said, never mind, forget all that. This guy is 100% the quarterback of this team.
Yep.
Actually, 3 things. He also had a play where Kenny Vaccaro's little brother, like nearly took him out on a scramble. It like nearly took his head off and had already like smacked somebody else. And Buechele got up and gave him a look like, oh, almost got me. And it was like, we were all in love with Shane at that point.
Yeah.
Then the following fall, other websites tried to insist, or at least one in particular.
Here it comes.
I can't remember. I don't remember.
Yes, you do. You remember.
It was, yeah.
We know.
It's not even close.
Not Red Bloods. I don't think that's right. But some website, they were like in the fall, they were like, hey, Tyrone Swoops is the starter. Tyrone Swoops will be the starter of this team. And we were like, no. We watched the spring game. We know
we
that's
had good
not
intel.
true.
We had really good intel on that too.
We did. And the spring game has often been useful for helping explain the intel we hear, because then we can see it with our own eyes and be like, oh, I understand what they're saying now. But we did not need intel because we had the spring game. The spring game was super conclusive on that,
Y'all are forgetting about
particular issue.
Y'all are forgetting about the big Arch spring game too, when Quinn basically got one series and they're like, all right, you're starting, and then they let Owens and Arch.
I'm not forgetting that at all. I forgot that on purpose.
I know, but that
was
actually really bad in that spring game.
We'll let Trey run with the 2s. And let's just see if you sink or swim. And honestly, Trey was throwing dimes that day.
Yeah, should be fun to see that. Hopefully it's a game. Del Conte kind of intimated that it would be more game-like. Again, I don't think there's any real downside because it's not like they didn't do anything last year. They just had a closed-door scrimmage. So if you're going to have a scrimmage and there's no spring transfer portal to risk guys or risk losing guys with, you're not losing anything by also introducing so many of these transfers that you want these fans to cheer for. Like people want to know why Cam Coleman's exciting because they probably didn't watch a ton of Auburn games. They stunk.
If they did,
people want to know why Melvin Ciani, Hollywood Smothers, like your run game, Raleigh Brown, like there's a good opportunity for introducing so many of these guys that may only be here for a year. That's just life with the portal.
Yeah.
But if you really want to build some equity with the fans, let them get a look. So I'm excited about that. We'll talk a little bit more about what Del Conte said, but I do want to get to this from our guy Utah Horn before we keep on going. Good question. Over or under 4.5 first rounders in 2027. He's got Arch, Simmons, Coleman, Gooseby, and then either Wingo or McDonald to make it 5. It's a lot. It's a lot of first round picks.
Yeah, Wingo and Ryan and Jelani will be second rounders, maybe third rounders. But Arch will go 1, Simmons will go 4, Gooseby will go 5, Coleman somewhere in the teens, and then Ryan and Jelani will round it out in the second and third round. So I'm going under. I think it's 4 and under.
Right now I think Wingo would go way lower than that.
I think Wingo was going to test at his size. He's going to run like a horse. He's going to test well. If he continues to progress like he has each season, I think that'll help. But I do think he's a second or third round pick right now.
I don't think he's that high.
You don't think he's that yet?
No, but if he progresses, I mean, he could be a first.
If he takes the same jump he did this year that he takes next year, I think we could have that conversation then.
Oh yeah,
we're missing a name.
Joshy Manning says under, but watch out for Canoe.
That pushes it
even more likely to over because Canoe.
I don't think Canoe goes in the first round.
He's been playing pretty damn good.
And absolutely, 100%. They look at the projection, and there's probably some really, really good looking defensive linemen. Like Hero is a great player, but you got to look at the projection.
Man,
that body and that frame isn't ideal for a first rounder. That's all I'm saying.
That may be something we make a little wager on because I'd like to be on the other side of that one.
We sit there and okay, you're right.
I might do that.
Yeah, and that'd be like, hey, I'd love to be wrong because he's gonna play like he's gonna try to play like a first rounder.
How many did we think Coleman can be that? I don't think that's
Arch Simmons, Gooseby, Coleman.
Arch Simmons Gooseby is very solid. Arch Simmons Gooseby is very solid. And then you just need Coleman, Canoe, McDonald,
Wingo,
or is there anyone else that?
I think Alex January goes in probably the 4th or 5th round.
Actually,
Watson, like Alex January's upside more than Canoe.
I think him or Watson in a future year.
If Rasheem Biles takes off, No, but that's the thing.
He's more of a college.
Yeah, he's too small. I think.
Musco.
We got to see it.
Well,
we got to see it.
Yeah, but I'm saying that's
a good
number.
You're right.
4.5 is a good number.
I'll take the under.
Are any of the better cornerbacks in draft eligible years where if they just like blew? Cade Phillips is a sophomore, so he can't.
Yeah, he's not going.
Littleton is a sophomore.
Kobe Black potentially, but I think he's another couple of years.
Or Roberson, still too young.
No, Roberson won't be.
Mac, but he's probably not. There's actually just no, because he'll be at nickel if anything.
Maybe Siani.
Siani's 2 more years.
Who?
Melvin Siani.
He's not 2 more years.
Oh yeah.
No, he's draft eligible after this year.
Oh, eligible. I was about to say I thought he did have 2 years left.
He might.
Because that was kind of the talk, was him being there for 2 more years and allowing Brandon Baker kind of to.
Well, I think they're going to sell him on
that.
Yeah. So like, maybe he's a
like a Cam Williams. Hey, you come back, you'll go higher in the next round, kind of deal.
Late to mid. He's like could be late to mid, and then they say, "Hey, come back and play left tackle, and we'll put you in the first round."
Yeah.
But
I get a Christian Jones vibe with him.
If he's a 3rd or 4th rounder after this season, just hypothetically, then he probably goes. And
yeah, understandably so. Good question, Utah Horn. Appreciate that. We'll get into our big topic, though. Chris Del Conte yesterday mentioned that he's for college football playoff expansion, but that's because he wants to keep games like Notre Dame and Ohio State and Michigan on the schedule. Well, I'll hesitate on the Notre Dame thing. He was asked about, just maintaining and keeping tough games. And there is an element of the Big 12 where, I know Kansas State and, well, maybe not Kansas State, but I know TCU and Iowa State and sometimes Baylor and sometimes West Virginia would march into Austin and beat Texas. That definitely happened. But those are still not big brand names. And if you're a season ticket holder, you want big brand names. The Big 12 created that issue. That's why they played LSU and USC and Alabama and even has these matchups with Michigan and Ohio State. SEC having a 9-game schedule changes the math on that. That's definitely something to think about. But one thing that Del Conte talked about last night was, look, Michigan and Ohio State games, that was part of our negotiated exit from the Big 12. Had to get out of there. And putting games on Fox, a Big 12 and Big 10 partner, was part of that. The other is, hey, we went there. We want them to come back. That makes sense. But then when it came to, and he never mentioned Notre Dame specifically, but when he said, hey, if we're going to play these types of games, we have to know if those games are worth keeping. And I've kind of been on the, every schedule's hard, play and win your games. It'll all sort itself out. But I can see where Del Conte's argument comes from. He didn't put a number on it, but it sounded like 16 may have been what he was looking for, because in his perfect world, Texas is able to still play these games, bring high-profile teams like Michigan, Ohio State, Notre Dame, looking back, Alabama, to DKR at the beginning of the year, have SEC games throughout the year, and then depending on what happens, maybe you have a college football playoff game at home too. He wants every slice of the cake, and to him, Ian, it sounds like the best way to get every slice of that cake is to expand the playoff past 12. So if you go 9-3, you play Ohio State, well, and you lose that game but still go 9-2 the rest of the way, which is obviously, if you're doing that, we can look at the micro and like, oh, they had to come back from 30 whatever points down against Mississippi State. They still won the game. If you're able to do that, that's a team he thinks should be worthy of playoff consideration.
Spoken's like somebody whose primary concern is ticket sales and athletic department spreadsheets.
And not missing the playoff again like 2025.
And not missing the playoff. I think he's right in the sense that they should try to do what they can to maintain big primo matchups. Like, we got people hating on Notre Dame in the comments.
Justifiably so.
But it's fun to hate Notre Dame, and it's fun to play them. That's what the sport is about. The sport gets really bland if it's like, we're not going to play this team, and we're not going to play this team, and we're not going to play this team because of political grievances over money. That's the lamest possible way to do this sport.
Preach it.
There's no lamer way to do this sport than that.
Yep.
So
I'll push back on that, though. What about the carve out that they have that no other team has? If they're in so Texas was number 13 in this year's playoff rankings. If they had even climbed up to number 12, they still wouldn't be in the playoff. But if Notre Dame had been number 12, even with the, I know it's a confangled system, but they get a special carve out that no other team has.
Yes. But refusing to play Notre Dame and not having them on the schedule is a really lame way to solve for this imbalance. That's my point. My point is not that there are not political grievances that are real in college football. It's that when it's like, okay, when people say we're going to take our ball and go home, then the fans and the content creators lose. Because then it's just more games against freaking UTEP or
it could be, but I can say it could be a game against Illinois. It doesn't have to be Notre Dame. You could play Illinois. We could do the whole UCLA thing again.
Whoop-de freaking do. Who cares about playing it? Illinois is like, that's what an error. If you play Illinois, you could lose and it just sucks. And if you win, you don't care.
The Illinois falls into that category. Remember DeLoss Dodge used to say there's a reason we didn't play Arkansas, because it's a lose-lose situation. If you win, hell, you're supposed to win. You're playing Arkansas. If you lose, it's almost like losing twice. You lost to them. Like, it's a lose-lose situation. So I see that. Look, the college football playoff created this mess. The college football playoff is going to be the singular thing that kills the regular season of college football. It's going to happen. And the bigger it gets, the less the regular season's going to matter. I think that's where we're going with all this. It's the same thing that happened in college basketball. It's going to happen in college football.
Television killed.
Television injected all the money and HGH into college athletics.
So there you go.
University of Oklahoma Board of Regents. Good job.
We got a new college football playoff schedule in 2026, and it's worse than the one before. The calendar gets more awful. You know why? Because nobody wants to make a decision and stand with it. It's all, let's try this, and then let's try that. And then if this doesn't work, we could try this. No. Crap, or get off the pot. Make a decision and stick with it.
Why? The scenario in which I would support an expanded playoff to 16 or 24 is you cut down your season to like a 9 or 10 game conference season. And then you get the playoffs rolling in December.
So that's what Del Conte brought up. He said he wants to start on week 0, which I think is smart, end of August.
Yeah.
I was surprised to hear him say get rid of the conference title games, because this is an era of college sports where they are looking for every dime. Even Texas, they're looking to make that, whatever it is, $327 million in revenue. They need that to be 360. They're looking for every single thing. And conference title games, that is a standalone game in early December after the season, where it's going to be the top teams in a conference. Usually, unless you're the ACC, usually it's going to be the top teams in the conference. Ratings bonanza. Ratings means money. And if you play in those games, it's an important game because you can win your conference title, I think you get a little bit of payout from it. So for him to say, hey, let's get rid of it, start with week 0, and then do basically kind of like the NFL playoffs does, go straight through December, have the semifinals on New Year's Day, and then a college football playoff the week after.
Yes.
I like that. Now, I do think that if you go to week 0, that would interject the ability to have a second bye week. I think that's got to be a consideration if you're going to play all these. Well, the NFL does it. Yeah. Well, they get paid now, not as much. Like, I think there has to be I think the second bye helps the sport because it keeps the players healthier and improves quality of play a little bit. And I think if you can fit that in with the week 0 start and starting the playoff on conference championship week, going to the old school, like tie for first at the conference title type thing, like that's a good idea. There's just no one person, like you said, Justin, at the top who can make all this happen because we have 50 states and 10 conferences in FBS.
Hey, did you hear what Jeff Traylor said yesterday?
No.
About the playoff calendar and everything going on. He said, why don't we move it to start the season in mid-August? He said, honestly, we know what we got by mid-August.
Yeah.
We know. And he said, we're bored. I'm watching croquet competitions. I'm watching basket weaving. I'm watching guys throwing washers on ESPN, the Ocho. He's like, let's just move it up a couple weeks. That way we're not playing football past January. He goes, we're all in that same boat. And that's what I love about Jeff, is that he'll kind of give you the people's perspective on it.
I like the week 0 thing. I like this. This is a little bit to what you're talking about, Ian. I wish you had a 10-game conference schedule like 2020 SEC. COVID, Saban said he wanted. Of course, he was lying. He didn't really want that, but still a good idea. Necessity brings out some good ideas every now and then. And I think I know the Big 12, it was supposed to be 1 out of conference and then 9 conference games because it was a 10-team league. I think the SEC, they didn't do a single out of conference game, and then they did the 10-team thing. I don't know. What do you think about that one?
I like that one. I think get over the Chiron.
I'll get rid of it. Yeah.
I think some teams would struggle with that because now you're looking at 4 or 5 home games a year instead of 5, 6, 7. So you're losing some gate.
Correct. And that's still huge.
You do generally get a payout though from the conference playoff participation, even if you're like the dregs of the conference, right?
I think in the SEC, yes, some conferences do winner take all, winner take most, winner take a chunk.
Well, yeah, not okay. But those conferences, who cares about them anyway?
Yeah.
One thing I don't quite understand, like a 10-game conference season is even better than a 9, in my opinion. Like if you just play 10 SEC games and then it's playoff time, assuming that they don't job the SEC teams for their inevitable 5-6-4, 7-3 records. That feel like your gate would still be strong ticket sales wise, because you're playing all SEC teams. Your home schedule is going to be awesome every year.
Yes.
How do you determine the winner of the conference though, without a championship game? Because there's too many teams for that to be round robin.
That's a hypothetical, and the hypothetical, it's a little tough to answer.
I don't mind picking a champion without a conference championship game, but football often does. If you don't have round robin, football generally benefits from a playoff game because you can't play a bunch of games like the Premier League and add up points or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do that part.
Yeah, that's 38 data points, and you play everybody twice in that one.
Premier League?
Yeah. So that's plenty of data. And then I think the next tiebreaker is like goal different. Like it's a different sport. It makes sense. Goal differential is pretty straightforward.
Now, high school football, some of those districts, everybody doesn't play each other, right? Or do they always have a round robin where you always play each other?
It depends on the numbers.
If it's like a
10 years ago, 10 years ago, the biggest district in East Texas had 4 teams.
Yeah, so
they essentially played a home and home against each other, and honestly, that was the best year for district football. I mean, it really, when you saw John Tyler and Longview playing twice, you saw Tyler Lee and Lufkin playing twice, like those are really good games. It just depends on the number of teams in the conference. I mean, district.
I feel like there are districts where everybody doesn't play each other because there's too many.
There might be a few of those, but they're very far between. Most district schedules in Texas, you play every team in your district.
Yeah,
and those are the pretty normal standard.
I think those are like the big city ones too. So
they should absolutely have a UIL style deal, or and I know the Big Ten will push for this, but it's probably right, where it's like, hey, top 5, top 6 teams in the SEC are in. Top 6 teams in the Big Ten are in just automatically, no matter what your record is.
And then the regular season becomes even more obsolete.
You're still contending for that spot. It would become.
Not if they're automatic, man.
Well, I mean, you have to get.
It'll be like Texas high school football, which is the greatest version of football that got
like the playoff system. It's the greatest version to maximize money in the high school playoff system.
Before we keep going, got to show some love to our sponsor, that is Academy.
Fast one.
Same-day delivery powered by DoorDash.
I thought I had time to let Rebel in.
It's only a quick one. I do want to get to this real quick because this is a little bit of reporting. If they do want to take out that Notre Dame series, doesn't cost that much money. And you could probably find a program. I wanted to say Northwestern, but Northwestern went 7-6 this year, so I couldn't say that. So I said Purdue in this article. If they wanted to slide in Purdue or whoever has an opening.
What about Indiana?
We already did this. We already did this with Texas A&M. We said, screw those guys. We just won't play them anymore. And we just were punishing ourselves. It was lame. This is a heat of the moment thing. Find another way to do this.
Well, one way they could do it is pay him $500,000 right now and just say
no. I'm saying just play Notre Dame. Just keep playing Notre Dame. It's not fun. The whole point of the sport is that you take out your different community rivalries and grievances, and you take it out on the other team on the field. And the field is where it's settled. Settling it outside of the field with lawyers is the lamest, weakest crap you could possibly conceive of.
I think Ian's saying we've already got it scheduled now. Just go with it. Just keep doing what we're doing here. Now, if there needs to be changes at the end of when all those non-conferences had been scheduled 3, 4, 5 years in advance, fine, that's good. Readjust. But keep the things we had already set up. Keep those games. Listen, I know. It could affect Texas in the playoff. Guess what? In September, I want to see Texas Notre Dame. I love 27. Was it 2016? The first game of the year was incredible. The atmosphere in DKR was incredible. I know. Well, it'll affect what they do in the playoff. Blah 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 blah. I'm with Ian. Let's go and play some good teams. Let's play some good games. Let's have some fun with it. because at the end of the day, that's what college football is about.
And I'm with you. Like once we get to that Saturday in 2028 or 2029, it's like, all right, we're doing this again. But like, I do think it is not crazy to consider consequences of results. Yeah, you should win. I'm on team win your games. If you win, winning solves everything. But like we went through this past year, like who's 9? Is there a 9-3 that's better than a 10-2? We'd argue probably yes, but they didn't see it that way. So why not give you a chance to find the 10-2? Like that's what makes this so complex. And I get what you mean, Ian, but like Notre Dame is the lightning rod and the point of change in the middle of this conversation for Texas. Not so much like, oh, screw Notre Dame. There's some of that for some people, I'm sure. I'm not like that, but it's just like I'm curious, like why that could be USC. You know, it could be Washington. You know, why set yourself up with that type of game when you can play Purdue or weak Michigan State?
Or Joe.
Because it sucks.
Exactly. Or
okay, you remember how much
Notre Dame out of the 12 spot?
How much did missing the playoffs suck?
How much joy would the national fandom have if Texas and Notre Dame played those games and Texas was the reason they didn't get in? Because Notre Dame's getting a free pass on a lot of this stuff. What if Texas was the team that cut them down? And it's like, yeah, Notre Dame was looking good. Texas came through. Nah, bro, next year. I like that scenario.
Yeah, but
I deeply dislike trying to answer for problems in the game with take our ball and go home and then send the lawyers in. It's super lame.
You're not sending the lawyers in on this one. You're sending a check.
It's so lame.
You're not. There's no lawyers here.
There's always.
And we have a lot of lawyer viewers.
You're just sending a check.
The lawyer viewers understand what I'm talking about.
But yeah,
you keep lawyers.
They know as well as I do how lame it is.
If Texas,
I agree.
Yeah, but I mean, wouldn't you rather like? And here's the thing. Yeah, you want to play Rice or UTEP. You have to play a Power 5 team. That's why you have to play one and out of conference play. That is the rule in the SEC. So, like, you have to play somebody. If Texas had beaten Purdue by 50 points, they're a playoff team this year. Wouldn't you have liked that?
If what?
If Texas had beaten Purdue by 50 points instead of playing Ohio State, they would have been a playoff team.
But what were we going to talk about for 5 months leading up to that week 1 game? Because nobody wants to talk about Purdue. But, buddy, we got a lot of run out of that Ohio State game.
We would have got whooped in the playoffs anyway.
But you're in the playoffs.
Don't start that, Ian.
Texas
is one of the hottest teams in the country going.
You're not tanking for draft position. You want to make the playoff instead of not make the playoff. It doesn't matter.
You're right that the structure – I'm just saying – the structure is incentivizing
wins,
lame, soft behavior. We need to change the structure so that it doesn't incentivize that anymore.
That I'm with.
But in the meantime, I hate talking like, here's how we can be lame and soft in order to game the system in our advantage. And it's lame. It's ugh. Man, I'm not going to quibble that these things make sense, as they do make sense.
If only Washington State had beaten Ole Miss in Oxford, then this would have been – Texas wouldn't be at the forefront of this one. It would be other teams. We've gone on. We got 6 months to talk about playoff format. I do want to go over some of the other – I know. I do want to go over some of the other stuff Del Conte mentioned, and this is always a big one. A lot of this stuff is – I think the same question's been asked 3 years in a row. Like, when's DKR going to grass? When's DKR going to grass?
Hey, I went to grass years ago.
First and foremost, it's up to Sark if he even wants it. Like, it's not a foregone conclusion that, yay, indoor is built. Yay. And Del Conte mentions this. When you have a grass playing surface in your stadium, the only things that you can do on a grass playing surface in your stadium is play football games. You can't practice on it. You can't host events like they do for raising Texas One Fund money. You may be able to do commencement and that's it because it's a one-off in the spring, but Texas needed that indoor in order to have the ability to add grass if they want it. If they want it. We'll see if they do that. This one, Aggies got our fields beat. Well, what happens on those fields? That's kind of what I'm always asking about.
What Aggies have what? They have
their playing surface is better. And their playing surface is pretty nice.
It is pretty nice, but by the time, 2 years ago, there was some dead spots in that grass come November. It was a little patchy.
It's a different climate.
Austin and College Station.
Austin and College Station are different climates. I
know what you're trying to say.
Joe, let him say it.
The settling of Texas was different in different parts of Texas. And Southern plantation people went to College Station, but they did not make it to Austin because the soil was not suitable for that kind of agriculture.
True.
It's a different place, and it's so much easier to grow grass in that area than it is. There's a reason all these Central Texas high schools also all do turf, because the field maintenance is extremely expensive and water intensive.
Not Central Texas, all Texas.
Not all of Texas.
All Texas does turf because it's more fiscally sound.
Well, it's
ask
cheap,
any greenskeeper, ask any guy that maintains.
Of course, it's cheaper everywhere. Yes,
that's why there's turf, not just turf. That's why there's indoors everywhere. But
East Texas up where it's more like the deep South, it is easier to grow grass there and to maintain it than it is when you come into the middle of the state.
I think Texas can make up for those issues, though.
Texas could if they wanted to. Yes.
I don't care that much. I've always been kind of amused by how this is like I don't want to call it a holy cow, but like how this is such a sticking point. And I get it because it's like it should be played. People believe it should be played on grass, and I kind of like that too, especially when you look around the SEC and see you see Oklahoma, Texas A&M, Alabama, Auburn, LSU.
Your more physical teams play on grass. Your more turf, speed, tempo play on turf.
Tennessee, Georgia, Florida. I don't know about Arkansas. I think South Carolina.
Arkansas's grass.
Most of them play on grass. Yeah. So I can see why, but it is all.
Those are also like, again, the climate deal. Can you go? Is there a plane? What is the? I'm trying to think of a good. What does Tennessee play on? They play on grass.
I believe so.
I think so, but it's the alternate every 5 yards. I think. Yeah, maybe.
Oklahoma plays on grass.
Correct.
They tried turf for a while too.
Oklahoma's, doesn't it look pretty bad too?
No, theirs is pretty nice.
I was about to say there's some of those spots are pretty patchy. You see a little dead here, a little dead here. Not old Northwestern Stadium patchy, but you know what I mean.
You know who else has turf? Notre Dame.
Blake Bryant.
Actually, yeah, they do. They went to field turf.
The one thing about this, and this is true, but we're growing grass in a stadium. We're not planting cash crops in the soil. That's my thing. You know.
Yeah, but they would have to the work they would have to do in DKR to make it where they could easily grow and maintain grass. It would be extremely expensive.
Right.
And that's part of the reason a lot of schools go to turf. It's 100% of the reason high schools in Texas go to turf. It's just an easier thing to maintain.
Other CDC notes: indoor practice facility will be finished in July, so that'll be fun to see. There's been the building that they tore down, the old University Junior High. It was one of the first schools in Austin that was integrated. And so I think there are a lot of people throughout Austin who are like, we need to save some sort of cultural aspect of it. CDC said like a lot of big pieces like edifices, facades from that school are going to be prominently displayed there. So I think that was a good move by him. Press boxes.
What school is that again?
The University Junior High, where the school's social work was. So where the rec is, and then MLK Boulevard. Press box is moving to the flagpoles in the south end zone.
Joe, real quick. You and I have been in a lot of press boxes. Have we ever been in one in the end zone?
TCU, and it's going to be a similar. It's going to be a similar perspective. It's not going to be like straight up back. It's in the corners. It's going to be similar perspective.
Right. Well, I remember Baylor, you're at an angle, and TCU, you're kind of at that 2010 back angle. That's
just for us. It doesn't matter. They are changing. I think the TV perspective from their cameras is going to change a little bit too. So your view on TV may be a little bit different. I think Texas has a good camera angle for TV. Missouri sucks, which is always funny. Other things, Mini Moody volleyball may be getting a new home. That's one of the most successful sports on campus. They've been in Gregory Gym, and Gregory Gym is very, I don't even want to call it meat and potatoes.
Nostalgic.
It harkens back to a different era. And I've got, y'all know my buddy, he and his wife, they have volleyball season tickets, and Del Conte was talking about troughs in DKR. And we're like, yeah, troughs. All right. In the bathrooms. And then he goes back and it's like, yeah, Gregory Gym doesn't have bathrooms and concessions. So volleyball is getting a new facility eventually. They put out an RFP, which is stage 1. And they're also going to build a bunch of athlete dorms there and create an Olympic village, which I think it's good for just overall athletic department culture. Just having all your athletes kind of in a similar area and hanging out and being with each other.
Area.
They kind of already do that in the tank and a few other spots.
What about any other things, topics, y'all? I don't know. Y'all said y'all watched bits and pieces of it. Any other big topics?
I was watching Evan Veith. I thought our man Evan the Beef was killing it until he starts asking about women's flag football, and then I'm just. So I know. Listen. I know Evan is very big into female sports.
Evan didn't ask about that. I'm going to stand up for that. No, it wasn't Evan.
I thought I heard. Listen, Evan's voice hasn't dropped yet. No, so I don't know if that was an elderly woman or if that was Evan talking. I don't know yet. You can't confirm that. We can't confirm it.
I can confirm it because it wasn't Evan. The thing with this is it's a town hall, so you get a little bit of everything. Last year, somebody asked about pickleball. This year, somebody asked about adding. There are schools adding women's flag football because I think it's like an NCAA emerging sport. People ask about adding sports all the time. Del Conte's answer doesn't change. The only sports they can add right now would be women's sports because of Title IX restrictions.
Okay, so I noticed that with Title IX. So why can't Texas have men's soccer? It's because women won't let him?
No, because the current Title IX means your athletic department has to match the complexion of your student body. The student body right now has more women than men. I think it's 56-44, maybe something like that.
Okay.
So your athletic department has to match that. You got 105 football scholarships. So you need a bunch of women's sports to make up for that. If they added beach volleyball in the past few years to bring up the scholarship count, if they want to bring in more, if they wanted to add another sport, it would have to be women's because, as Ryan Nelson notes, it's trending towards 60-40 more than it's trending toward 50-50. And since the athletic department has to match, you would need more women's scholarships. I don't think it has to be exactly 60-40, but it needs to look similar to it.
Okay. I was always wondering why, and because to me, it feels like it's discrimination at its fullest. You're pushing men down.
It's total garbage.
It is. You're pushing men down to help a woman. Men's soccer, I can't tell you how many times people have asked me, why doesn't Texas have a men's soccer program? And I have to tell them, because the women won't let him. And they look at me like, man, that's okay, but wait a minute.
What women's sports do we currently have? Because I think I might be more interested in watching women's flag than some of the current.
Track, volleyball, tennis, softball, basketball, swimming and diving, soccer, beach volleyball, rowing.
Rowing's big. They don't take away rowing.
Rowing helps Texas with the
Olympics
Title IX numbers.
Oh, good. I'm a big fan of the rowing team.
I think if Texas, they don't seem to be in the market for adding another sport. If they wanted to do that, I think gymnastics would probably be up next, because if you have this mini Moody, well, that's a perfect facility for gymnastics because it's about 6,000. And it's very popular in the SEC. It's on SEC Network.
Gymnastics over flag every day of the week. Women's gymnastics is a legitimately great sport.
Absolutely.
Women gymnastics is better than men's gymnastics.
Absolutely. Amen.
The grace of the movements is
He's
part of the sport, and men are not graceful, especially in gymnastics, where it's all just like crazy feats of strength.
Yeah.
Small. Nobody throw tomatoes at me. The first sport I would cut from the list you said would be beach volleyball.
And I get that. It's a very new one. And I think it's because I think I get what you mean by that.
They have good uniforms.
I know that you and many of our viewers would not be in favor of cutting.
The one thing about men's soccer is that, like, I think only SMU has it within the state of Texas. The SEC doesn't sponsor it. And how do I put this? College soccer is not really a thing in the United States. Like, it is a thing, like it exists, but the best soccer players in the U.S. The best men's soccer players in the U.S. don't filter up in the sport through college soccer. They do it through like academies, or they just get plucked by Europe. So it's really not like high quality of play either.
It's a big deal in the ACC and on the East Coast, strangely enough.
Yeah. What about, did y'all see that there are apparently a wait list there are 68,000 season ticket holders. Apparently there's a wait list of 11,000 to get season tickets at Texas. So that is, I think we talked about all the negatives, and there's a lot of gloom and doom around the sport. People are more interested in Texas football than ever. And I think more interested in big time college football than ever.
There might be gloom and doom, Joe, in some respects. And I think that's a national perspective. From Texas point of view, they're cooking. They're doing. It'd be hard to find a few sports at Texas that aren't being pretty successful. Like I think the Horns are doing it just right. I think this lines up perfectly for Texas. It may be a national thing where the calendar's awful and the season becomes even more stretched out. But in Austin, Texas, they love the stuff that's going on.
Chuck Klosterman has this new book out where he argues that football is the number one television product in existence.
Oh yeah.
Specifically NFL, but football in general. He's like, there's never been a better, more successful television product thing to watch on TV. And so the sport has not yet really been optimized for TV because there's no one in charge of it. Justin, if the sport was optimized for TV, we would have an expanded playoff, and the whole structure of the sport would be oriented around it and putting it on in the holidays.
Well, you're talking about college, though.
Yeah, college football.
I mean,
the NFL is pretty much more optimized for television.
Okay.
Yeah, let's say the NFL is
in general, but yeah, college football.
The NFL, I mean, yeah, they're doing just fine. But college football has not been, because we don't have a commissioner and we don't have a cadre of.
Well, it's not just no commissioner. There's no one makes a final decision. Hey,
that's what I mean.
Eligibility rule right now. What's the eligibility for kids that have played junior college football but have also played 3 or 4 years of Division I football?
You don't even have an oligarchy in college football.
Yeah.
You have competing power centers.
You remember baseball in the late 1910s, 1920s? That sport almost died, and they had to bring in a commissioner. And that commissioner, I'm going to tell you what, he drew the line, and that right there, that moment was for the next 100 years of baseball being the best sport you can imagine because of that decision. College football is at a railroad where I think they need someone to come in and hammer down a few decisions. Hey, this is what we're going to do it. Oh, but it could look better. This is the way we're going to do it. Adapt or die. Set up a ground rules, and now everyone gets to adjust to the rules instead of the rules adjusting to everyone else.
You know, we talked a lot about lawyers.
Texans know when you're injured, there's one name that gets results. Andre the Lawyer. Trust the team that has secured millions for their clients and helped thousands of Texans win their injury cases. Car wrecks, slip and falls, 18-wheeler accidents, on-the-job injuries, wrongful deaths. Don't let the insurance companies tell you what your claim is worth. Andre the Lawyer will fight for you. His principal office is in Dallas, but they serve Texans throughout the state. So don't wait. Call 214-444-8808. That's 214-444-8808. Contact info is in the description.
I'm looking at a couple of the other things that Del Conte touched on. I know he says that adding the human ad to the field is altruistic because it added, a brand with a history related to UT and stuff like that. It's still an ad on the field. You kind of went back on your word.
Naturally, it was.
I think, it's history with UT is great product. I haven't eaten it. I'd just rather eat beets themselves. It helps them, but you didn't say there was going to be. You said you weren't really looking at ads on the field, and then you added one. So when he says we're not going to put Sonic on our jerseys, I'm kind of left to wonder are you sure? Because you didn't express. I'll be fair. He said they had not expressed interest in looking for on-field ads. I think was something like that. He didn't say no, but he's we're not
right.
For it. He's been pretty definitive with no on-field on jersey advertisements. So what are we, Sonic? What is this, NASCAR? You put the Fig Newtons on the windshield.
Joe, when is it's going to come down to, hey, you remember that defensive tackle we really needed in 2029, and you really needed to find the funds for that? You know what? Go see if Dale wouldn't mind putting just a little something right here. It's going to get to that point. He'll fight the fight and the good fight, but it's going to get to that point. Remember, there was years the NBA said they were never going to do it.
Yeah.
Years the NBA said they weren't going to do it. Soccer had done it forever, and it's it didn't really affect much there, so what are we overthinking it about?
It's going to happen someday. I'm not going to fight it.
I don't really care, honestly.
As long as it's not something goofy.
I don't want
Buc-ee's or something.
That'd be awesome. What are you talking about?
No. Don't get me started on my anti-Buc-ee's rant.
Oh, man.
No. Ian's lowering his brow. Just understand something. If you want a good pulled pork sandwich, you need a little bit of barbecue sauce with it. Okay, it's pulled pork. It can be a little dry at times. Buc-ee's does not give you barbecue sauce to put on that. I am staunchly against that.
All right, so here's
that actually sounds like a much more rational take than I was expecting.
So my thing is Texas is burnt orange and white, and I can't give them free ad, but whatever. What if a big old Ford oval was on your jersey, and it's blue? I'm not for the on jersey.
I think that's going to be on the Cowboys jersey in a couple of years.
Oh, well, that'd be Pepsi or Miller Lite,
or Ford, who runs the Star.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Remember, it was all Chevy and GMC in the NFL, and that's when Jerry Jones was like, "Well, I like Ford." Well, no, it's all Coca-Cola and Coca-Cola products, right? In the NFL. Well, I like Pepsi.
Yeah,
I love that.
He
I
also
want to see him on the uniforms. That's not exciting. I don't want to see EPL where you're like, which team is this? Emirates? What?
Well, that's the problem with the NBA right now. I can turn on an NBA game on any given night. I have no idea who's playing.
Oh man,
they
if you
don't wear the same colors, they don't have the team name, or they're called some weird clicky name that they just made up because it sounds diverse. It's like I can't stand that.
It's just options. It's a lot of different. Like, what is it?
It's options for them to put jerseys in the store for them to sell more.
Yeah,
that's why baseball does it with the hats.
There's a lot of hometown appeal. Like I'm thinking right now, the Trailblazers that say Rip City. I have no clue what that means. But if you're from Portland, you're like, that's really cool. As long as my head coach isn't gambling. When you're looking at like the who else has a good what is it? Oh yeah, Charlotte. But you can tell it's Charlotte, but still Buzz City, that type of thing. Like there's some of that, but I do agree. Like it used to be you wore white at home, and then you wore your dark jerseys on the road or your team color jerseys on the road. That's different. And college football has lost a little bit of that. Like there are some teams, like you got LSU because they wear white at home, but that's LSU.
Oregon
You recognize
the same jersey twice.
Yeah, and that's their appeal. There is a big part in.
But you're also not seeing a bunch of logos all over Oregon stuff. It's essentially the Nike logo, the Oregon symbol, and then all that. So because they have their on-field sponsor. Oregon's going to get away with, well, we have the Nike logo on it, so we're covered.
How do y'all feel about grass at the dish? That's another big. I
just feel like the team has been so adjusted to that turf for what, 30, 40, 50 years.
It's never had a natural surface.
Yeah, like why change it now? Are we just going to overthink everything? Why change it now? Now, granted, I'm not a big turf guy when it comes to baseball. The only thing I like about turf is that if you're playing shortstop or third, there's no transition from the grass. I mean, from the dirt to the grass to the dirt. And if you're playing a hop, that's actually a better thing. But I'm going to tell you what, man, I remember the first time I played at Rice University, that turf, the ball just, boom. I mean, you had to adjust to it. So I think keep it the way it is because the players in the organization and the program are used to the way it is.
I think if you want grass on Dish or DKR, then brace yourself for a lot more ads.
Yeah, that's true.
What about Scott's Home Builder?
Yeah,
let's get a grass. Let's get some grass ads. Let's sell grass. Whatever you got to do to generate money. You know what's funny? Up in at the University of Colorado, they may dabble in selling a little bit of grass up there just to get that NIL program kicked up. Why are we all looking at all options, Joe?
Yeah, but you can't file taxes on that.
You give Abbott a couple days.
Yeah, we'll see what that goes.
Yeah, I don't know.
Trying to think of anything else. There wasn't a whole lot. A lot of this is repeated. He's had this Dish grass and DKR grass and all that over the course of the last few years. Facilities ones, that's always cool. The Dish is going to get some upgrades. It feels like for like the players area. So I'm excited to see that. Other than that, one last thing. I remember what I was going to bring up. People asked about how do you continue to maintain, like most everybody's focus is football, but how do you maintain a Texas culture when you're gaining and losing players from the portal so often?
You don't.
And Del Conte said that his goal still, and I think it was related to
high
football,
school centric,
is to remain high school centric and then to add in via the portal. I think he's fighting an altruistic battle, but I also think that is paddling upstream. I just don't know how fast the current is quite yet before you may just have to go 50-50 because of the way things are going.
In the roster management era, and that is what we're in consists right now currently in college football. You have to have your head on a swivel. Every cycle is going to be different, Joe. I think you both agree. Some cycles, Texas may have to dip into that thing for 10 or 12 kids. For some cycles, they may not. It's going to depend on injuries, renegotiations with younger players, players not happy, potentially wanting to leave. That's the thing that you're going to constantly have to be. It's an ever-evolving thing is what I'm going to say. Roster management has really taken over college football. And so don't get yourself pigeonholed into a 60-40 or like a percentage that you're looking for. From year to year, I think that's going to change. And to me, that's what kind of makes this part of this college football now interesting, because you're constantly having to readjust that roster and churn the bottom of it. So I think CDC, you said the altruistic way, you nailed it, Joe. Like, I think he's meaning it in the right way, especially because you don't want to go up there and tell high school football coaches, yeah, we're only going to take like 20 or 30% of you guys now. You don't want to do that. But at the same time, it's going to be a year-to-year thing. What Sark may take in 2025 may be different in December of 2026. I don't think it's one baseline of a percentage of kids.
And I think aside from men's basketball, that's pretty safe assumption for every other sport. Like, you're going to be making most of your roster. I mean, just thinking of the men's sports, like football, at this point, it's still 60-40, I think, at least just looking at the starting lineup. Men's basketball is a whole other thing. But track, I don't know if there are track transfers. Can't really think of any.
Swimming, yeah, there are track transfers.
But I don't know how many.
Yeah.
Swimming, like, again, different animal because of how Texas is like an Olympic launching pad. Baseball, it's going to be mostly guys that you've recruited and developed. Like, I think that holds true for a large portion of like the men's athletic department, but for football, it changes, and coaches of all levels have to be a little bit nimble in how they view this. Ian, closing thoughts?
I think your culture is more of a top-down thing anyway. Head coach and strength coach, and how they manage the staff and what they demand of the staff and then what the staff demands of players. You'll hear all the time, like in the NFL has major turnover across rosters. NBA has major turnover across rosters, and the places that have strong leadership that sets the tone every year, all the time, when players go there, they get assimilated, you know? Like the Miami Heat are famous for this. The Belichick Patriots are famous for this. And Cowboys are famous for it, probably in a bad way, where you go there and it's like, welcome to the country club. Here's the free-for-all. Here's the guy you call if things go bad when you're partying in Dallas, you know? So I'm not really that worried about it. It didn't seem to be a big problem for Indiana. It seems like they were all on the same page, you know?
Yeah.
That's an excellent point. Whenever someone makes excuses about anything in college football this year, that's my default answer. Yeah, Indiana probably had the same problems.
It's like, I think it's one of those aspects where, like, as long as you can direct most of the essential personnel in the right direction, inertia is going to take everybody else, whether they've been there for 1 year, 1 week, or 4 years. You know, as long as the goal, and it's pretty easy to find the goal in college football, is to win the football games. As long as you're moving towards that alignment, everything will take care of itself. So,
Joe, real quick before we get out of here, Evan tweeted something that CDC had mentioned about the age disparity between Indiana and Texas. And Texas had a baseline of like a 19-2. I don't know where he got that number, and unless he's basing that off of maybe a few 17-year-olds that enrolled early. Maybe it's not the age now compared to maybe what the season started, what the age is. But if you look through the ages of the 85-man roster, what now, 86, 87, something like that, 19-2 is, I don't think, is the average. That seems like a very – there's something –
yeah.
The math there.
The numbers didn't seem right, but I don't think it's incorrect. Like, I remember looking it up. It was –
I think there's a gap.
Indiana had 40-something players who are at least 3 years in college football, and Texas only had like 20. Like, most of the roster was
I think you're right. I think the gap was legit, and that actually goes to show you more of what we're talking about with roster management now. But 19-2, unless you're like the baseline is the kids that enrolled early that were 17 years old, and there was only a few of those guys anyway, that 19-2 for overall age average does not compute.
Maybe something to look out for. We'll have it over on Inside Texas. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and go to that first link in our description. Use that QR code there at the top of the screen. Pause that video real quick, scan that, go sign up. Join for just $1. Can't wait to see everybody over there as we talk Texas football throughout the offseason. So, Justin, Ian, thank you so much. Thank you for watching. See you next time on IT Live, presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors.